everybody, welcome back to my fucking channel. As promised, in today's video we are doing Mercury in Sagittarius, and if you haven't checked out my previous video, Mercury in Scorpio, please go check that out. And as always, after this video we're gonna do Mercury in Sagittarius through the houses, as we always fucking do, you know the vibes. But yeah, let's just get straight into it, right? So what is Mercury and what the fuck is Sagittarius, right? So first of all, before we get into that, we have to already know that Mercury in Sagittarius, Mercury is in its detriment in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is in its detriment in Mercury. Why? Because they are like opposite signs. Mercury is home to Gemini, right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Sagittarius will then be opposite to Gemini because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter and Mercury are opposing planets, right? So naturally, it's kind of like a very huge frustration for Sagittarius and Mercury to just be intermingling together, because Mercury can't really function at its best in Sagittarius because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Now we're getting into what is Jupiter and Mercury, whatever, but Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, right? Jupiter isn't necessarily a communicative planet. Jupiter is more so about, it's like an internal experience. Jupiter really is an internal experience, and how it's experienced is how do I say this, being in, like, you know like there's this quote that says some things can't be explained, they have to be felt. That is some Jupiter shit. Like some things, like Jupiter can't really always explain things unless maybe it's in the third house, but even then it's like in its detriment, or if it's in Gemini, but still it's in its detriment, you know what I'm saying? But with Jupiter, it's more so about experiencing things. Like Jupiter is such an internal planet, you know what I'm saying? It's very similar to, you know, Mars in that sense, and it's very similar to the moon in that sense, because both of them, you know, house water signs and fire signs. But just the experience of Jupiter is more so an internal experience, you know, where you have to feel it. Like a lot of the time Sagittarius is in Pisces, you know, because they are the feeler signs, so they feel through things. And then because Jupiter's there, and Jupiter rules, you know, expansion, wisdom, knowledge, not knowledge, wisdom, experiences, you know, like the connection to God, and just how you gain wisdom from your experiences, you know. And Jupiter just amplifies whatever it's in contact with, or it amplifies just really anything. Jupiter is like the biggest planet, well, after the sun. It's pretty big, but you know what I'm saying? In that sense, it just amplifies whatever it touches. It makes it big, but not like intense like Scorpio. It just makes it large, a very large. So you would feel, for example, you could have like a Pisces moon. Oh, let me not say Pisces moon. You could have like let's say you have an Aries moon. And let's say your Aries moon is conjuncting your Aries Jupiter, right? You're gonna have an abundance of that Aries energy, and then depending on the house also, that'll be the experiences that you abundantly attract, you know. So Jupiter, as I say, is really just an experience, and then Mercury is more so about the communication and analyzing, and, you know, trying to break down information and be in the details. So you can already see where that opposition kind of, when they come together, it's like a really big clash, because now it's kind of like awkward for for Sagittarius and Mercury now, because it's like Sagittarius is more so about an experience, like the feeling of an experience and the wisdom that you gain from it, and then Mercury is more so just about, you know, collecting information, not necessarily caring about an experience, or, you know, kind of fully immersing yourself in what's going on in its entirety, whereas Sagittarius is in Pisces, aka Jupiter, does that, you know. Mercury, Geminis and Virgos are more so looking at the details of things, whereas Pisces and Sagittarius are looking at the outer picture, the zoomed out. So basically, we just say Mercury zooms in, and then Jupiter zooms the fuck out. Whereas, see, Mercury sees the details in everything, like, you know, what was wrong, or what could have been done better, or what could have been da-da-da-dee, you know. And then Jupiter is zooming out, kind of looking at everything from like an aerial point of view, kind of seeing like, oh, okay, like just seeing the big picture of it, you know. So you can kind of see like how this Jupiter and I'm probably gonna say the same thing for Mercury and Pisces in that video when that comes out. But having Sagittarius Mercury, it you know, like as I was saying, that frustration stems from It just stems from that. And even right now, like, I know I'm going to be fumbling and stumbling over my words because I'm tapping into that Mercury and Sagittarius energy. And I mean, we generally are. We are, you know, in a Mercury in, like Mercury right now, as I'm shooting this video, Mercury is in Sagittarius and I'm Mercury ruled. So I'm literally gonna be playing out these things as I speak with like stuttering and something, whatever, because that's a theme for it. Like, because Mercury is in its downfall in Sagittarius and Pisces, that's why Mercury has a hard time doing what it wants to do, communicating and thinking, because it can't necessarily do that effectively because everything is so zoomed out and Mercury's a zoomed in planet. Right, so that's a lot of the times Mercury in Sagittarius people will stumble, even Mercury in Pisces, or people with Mercury in the 9th house or the 12th house, or even 8th house. No, maybe not 8th house. Excuse me, but yeah, that's a reason why Mercury in Sagittarius is specifically, and Pisces, Mercury in Pisces will stumble and fumble over their words, right? It's because Mercury isn't in your sign. You literally, it has a hard time communicating that. So in that sense, Mercury in Sagittarius people would also be one of those quiet people that don't say much unless they have something to say, because as I think I've said this before, maybe I posted it on my IG, is that these people have to have a purpose when they say something, because if they don't, then they're not going to make sense. Like, what you say is literally not going to make any sense. It's going to be on some Mercury retrograde vibe, which is very similar to having a Mercury in Pisces or Sagittarius. You just fumble on your words. And that's why I'm saying, like, that's why a lot of the times Mercury and Sagittarius people will, you know, are very much like Mercury and Aries people, where they just want to get to the point, you know, but for different reasons though, because Mercury and Aries is more so intent, you know, because Mars is there and the intention, and let's just cut straight to the intention. But Mercury and Sagittarius is more so about, you know, Jupiter's there in the 9th house, and it's about honesty and high education and wisdom and broad philosophical views. So if you guys, these are the type of people, like, if they're not being bluntly honest, like, Mercury and Sagittarius people will find it very difficult to kind of sugarcoat things, because once again, when they're not being honest, or when they're not looking at the higher truth of something, or when they're not being brutally honest, whatever, you know, they're not making sense. Like, these are the type of people that you won't really understand what the fuck they're trying to say. You would have to be like, excuse me. And I'm very sure that you guys also, you know that you've gone through these experiences where it also kind of makes you feel like, damn, I don't even like to talk, because you know when you do talk, like, it doesn't come out effectively. And then when you are very honest, then people either get very offended, then it's like, well, shit, dude, what the fuck do you want from me? You know what I'm saying? But keep that shit up, because that's the only way, like, that's your way of communicating, is being honest. And if you're not being honest, then these are the type of people that, you know, they have like either a specific catchphrase that they say all the time. Like, this is something I've noticed with every Mercury and fire sign, is that these are the guys that always have that one thing or those couple of phrases that they have, like, I don't know, for example, like, let's say these are the guys that would always be like on some real hot girl shit, or I don't know, they always say something crazy like, yeah, you know the vibes. Yeah, you know the vibes. You know, because that's something that, I guess, it's like their own catchphrase that people will know them from, and people will kind of understand what they mean by saying that. Because here's the thing with fire, right? Once again, it's not about what you say, it's also how you say it. So if they have that one catchphrase, they can alchemize that catchphrase with a specific energy. So, for example, let's use you know the vibes catchphrase. If I say, yeah, you know the vibes, the way I said it, you're gonna catch the expression of how I said it. But if I'm like, yeah, you know the vibes, you know what I'm saying? It's all about the tone. So a lot of Mercury and Sagittarius people will also have that shit. They'll have like that one specific catchphrase that they say, and that's the thing that kind of grounds them in how they communicate. You know, it's like, I don't know, like an anchor for their communication. You know what I'm saying? Because if they don't have that anchor, if they don't have that one catchphrase, then they're kind of, you know, drifting in many different directions. And then when they do want to speak, they go back to that whole not making sense thing. So that's why a lot of the times you'll catch these people. But a lot of the times you'll even fuck with them, because Mercury, Sagittarius energy generally is really nice to be around until, you know, they say those hurtful things. But I would say, you know, most of the time, like, listen, because you guys naturally think in a very philosophical way, and that's just how you think, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily see things as zoomed out as you do, you know, because a lot of people will have their own Mercury sign and Gemini, Libra, whatever, right? So, sorry. So a lot of times people won't be able to kind of and it's, once again, like it won't be any easier for you to sugarcoat the truth, because if you're not telling the truth, then you're going to be dead quiet, or you're going to want to, you know, cage, or like, what's this, release yourself out of a specific cage, or when that cage will be sugarcoating things. Because to you guys, the way you think is like, what's even the point of talking, or what's, you know, just like what's the point of talking, what's the point of sugarcoating, what's the point of lying, you know, because all of that you guys would think of as a cage. And once again, you know, that whole Sagittarius, Jupiter, even Pisces situation with being caged in, aka being zoomed in, that feels like a cage to you. Having to think too much about something, that's a cage to you, because how you think about situations is, okay, wow, let's find, you guys are very solution based. That's something that you share with air signs also. You're very solution based, and you're not people that like talking. These are not the type of people. Mercury and Sagittarius people are not the type of people who like to, you know, discuss or everything that went wrong or everything that is bad. They like to be like, okay, well, what are you gonna do about it, you know? Because once again, if we talk about something bad, then once we're caging ourselves into a feeling that we don't necessarily have to feel. And because Jupiter is here, it's going to expand everything. So they feel like, okay, well, if we continue talking about these problems, we're just going to expand on these problems. But if we come up with solutions, then we're going to end up, you know, expanding on solutions. And most of the time, your solutions as a Mercury and Sagittarius, fucking bitch, is escaping situations, especially if you feel like they don't, you know, align with giving you the freedom that you want, or if it doesn't align with, you know, like you living in your own truth, or just living in your own freedom, really, freedom to say anything, freedom to talk your shit, really, and freedom to think however you want to think, you know. Because once again, this is also one of those the one benefit of having a Mercury in Sagittarius is that, yes, you are able to how do I say this? I guess you are able to be around large crowds, and the way that you analyze, or the way that you interact with specific crowds, is you kind of allow people to communicate, and then you will see like where everyone is coming from, and then come up with a broad philosophical meaning to, oh, okay, right now everyone is just having this conversation because humans just need interaction, and interaction is done in forms of communication. See, that's the thing, and I like that's the cool thing about it, is because you have this detached way, which is very similar to the Aquarius, even Gemini, even fucking Libra, but not so much Libra. Let me say the Gemini and the Aquarius, Mercury, even energy. That's something that you guys will have in common, is understand, like, kind of having that detached way of interacting with humans, even though you are like there, because you are fire. So fire, like, as much as a Sagittarius will detach, and they kind of will make you feel detached, but like in the moment, because it is fire, so they know how to connect to you, right? But in their connection, they're understanding why people even connect in the first place. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, you understand, like, oh shit, okay, this is just something humans do, and that's just how you constantly think about shit. Like, it's, once again, it's broad, it's ruled by the 9th house, so how you guys think about shit is always, like, as I say, zooming out, broad philosophical way. Like, these are the type of people, Mercury and Sagittarius are the type of people who will, let's say I'm a Mercury and Sagittarius person, right? And my friend, or my friends are, you know, let's say we were at my house and we're just talking as vibes, you know, we're smoking, we're drinking, you know, we're doing cool teenage shit. We're doing cool teenage shit, you know what I'm saying? Or at a 20-year-old shit, whatever. Now, let's say, out of the blue, people start talking about, you know, family members that have died, and then whatever. And then, like, one of my friends says, yeah, my dad died, and it really affected me. A Mercury and Sagittarius person might either, you know, start laughing, or they might start, and this could be with anything. Like, we could even be talking about breakups, you know, anything, just anything that kind of sucks or like makes us feel sad or whatever, a Mercury and Sagittarius person will be the type to laugh. Like, they would laugh at that shit. Or they wouldn't really, like, you get the feeling that they're not taking it seriously. Because once again, they're looking and thinking about everything from a broad perspective. So they're not necessarily gonna feel, and it's not that they don't give a fuck. It's more so that they're looking at it from an outside point of view. Like, damn, okay, humans really die. Like, humans really cry when other people die. Like, that's crazy. That's weird. Oh, you know, it's like Mercury and Sagittarius people, and even Mercury and Pisces people would be the first ones when they're young to look in the mirror and be like, wow, I'm really a person. Like, I really have a face and everything. This is fucking crazy. First people from a very young age, I'm very sure you've had thoughts like that. Like, holy shit, like, this is a human thing. And it's, once again, sharing that thing with the Aquarius Pisces energy. It's like this out of body experience, you know, having Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Pisces energy. It's like you constantly live in this out of body experience where it's kind of like your spirit is hovering around your body, and you're just kind of watching humans live and kind of being like, oh wow, humans really do that. Like, wow, humans really have money to do shit. Like, wow, humans really have this house. Like, why do people live in houses? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, it's always this kind of I don't want to say it's always deep, but it's always like philosophical. You know what I'm saying? It's always like let me just leave it at that. It's always like a philosophical way of analyzing and, I guess, just seeing the world around you, you know? And because you're constantly in that zoomed out state, you have no other choice but to communicate, but to want to communicate your thoughts in that broad philosophical way. But here's the thing, it's like in the human language, there aren't many words. Or maybe let me say, because you have a Mercury and Sagittarius, it's going to be very difficult to word it properly or to word the thoughts that you have detailedly, you know? So that's why a lot of the times you kind of just, like, sometimes you would even think, like, what the fuck is the point of talking? But I think that's more so with the Mercury and Pisces. You know, like, just kind of questioning, like, what the fuck is even the point of communicating in general. But you will understand, once again, that, oh, humans just need to use these specific words as a way to, you know, bounce off their thoughts with each other, you know? But for you, it's kind of more difficult, as I said, to detailedly express these things, because it's like there's not, you would think maybe there's not enough words to explain exactly what you feel. So maybe you probably be the type of people who would, I'm trying to think, like, are you even better at texting? Because no, unless it's like Mercury in the 3rd house, Mercury and Sagittarius in the 3rd house, 7th house, 11th house, probably a lot better at doing that shit, you know. And obviously I feel like I don't have to mention the fact that you guys also need some time alone to rest your mind, because using too many words unnecessarily, if there's no reason. See, here's the thing here's the difference between Mars and Jupiter, right? Is that, and they're very similar in a lot of ways, but Mars is, what's the intention of talking? And then Jupiter is, what's the reason? What's the reason? It's what the fuck is the reason? Sorry, it's doing this shit again. It's the reason and then the intention. It's very similar in, I guess, in alchemy. The intention and the reason of doing something. You know what I'm saying? But essentially they all point to one thing, really, is having a purpose. And that's Sagittarius. It's all about their purpose base. Like, what is the purpose? What is, aka, the reason? What's the purpose of us even having this conversation? Or what's even, so you see, for example, a Mercury and Gemini person will always, for them to argue, they will argue the details of something. Or even a Mercury in Virgo, they will argue what's this, let's say I'm a Mercury and Sagittarius person, and my friend is a Mercury and Gemini, and I just said, wow, this party's so lit. And then I'm a Mercury and Sagittarius person, and I just said, wow, this party's so lit, right? Now my Mercury and Gemini friend would be like, dude, you know what lit means? Lit means when you light a fire up, right? And then, because now they're like explaining the literal reasons to things as a Mercury and Gemini, you know what I'm saying? Because they are very literal. I guess they can be very literal people. But a Mercury and Sagittarius will be like, okay, dude, I get like lit. I get what the meaning of lit is in its literal term, but we don't use that. We don't use lit for that particular reason. You know what I'm saying? Which is going back to that whole going back to the whole purpose thing. You know what I'm saying? They're not, Mercury and Sagittarius people aren't literal people. Like, they won't, as I said, explain things to you in a detailed way, because that's opposite from them. Gemini and Virgos rule the details of shit. You know, they rule the telling you something in the most sophisticatedly languaged, detailed, explanatory way possible. But a Mercury and Sagittarius person, these are the type of people they'll tell you the reason of it. Like, these are the type of people that will tell you, like, I feel like Mercury and Sagittarius people will thrive better when they're using a lingo. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, in Jersey, we have our own lingo where we mix, like, Zulu and Afrikaans and English and, Zulu, Afrikaans, and English. Zulu, Afrikaans, and, yeah, in South Africa, we mix that shit, you know? So when you go to places like Jersey, you'll realize, like, okay, there's a whole separate language, a sub-language from the distinct languages that came together. Even in the Zulu language, like, because there's Zulu Paka from KwaZulu-Natal, and then there's the Jersey Zulu, you know what I'm saying? And then from the Jersey Zulu we mixed that Zulu with the English, with the Afrikaans, with the what, you know? So it's a lingo, so we created our own lingo language. So a Mercury and Sagittarius person, they will probably thrive more using lingos and, yeah, just like that, those sub languages, rather than like actually speaking in I guess literal terms. But depending on the house that it's in, then you could also find, you know, Sagittarius is, because, you know, 9th house also does rule higher language and higher education. So you might even find a lot of Sagittarius as being the most sophisticated, like most intelligent and most intellectually sophisticated people who find it like challenging. And, you know, a lot of Sagittarius people will find challenges very intriguing and stimulating. So these will be the Sagittarius people that like to challenge themselves into, you know, tapping into the opposite house, or their square house, Gemini or Virgo, and they want to be very, you know, like astute languagely with their, like, oh, that's a spider. They want to be very, like, sorry, I just got distracted by the spider. But they will be very like intelligent, you know what I'm saying? And the things that come out of their mouth are always like matter of fact, you know what I'm saying? Or they're always kind of like preachy, teachy. And oh my god, let's not even get started with how Mercury and Sagittarius people, when they speak, it sounds like they are educating. Or it'll even sound, see, I'm really tapping into that shit now. But this is how Mercury and Sagittarius people sound. It's difficult to get these words out, bro. But anyway, it's like, damn, I even lost my point now. Oh yeah, it'll be like when they speak, you know, it's like they're always trying to teach you something, or they're always trying to school you, or they're always trying to, you know, like, I don't know, just, it's always kind of like they're proving you wrong. Like, no, I'm right, because I'm so knowledgeable and I'm so philosophical in my thoughts, and the way I think is so broad. And, you know, in that sense, like I say, they're very similar to even Aquarius Mercury's, because just the way that you think is on a very higher octave of thinking, you know, because it may not, and it's also not like, it's not subjective. Like, the way you think isn't necessarily always in a subjective way. You think objectively. Very similar, once again, to the Mercury and Aquarius, and just the Aquarius energy, and even the Pisces energy, where you're kind of not taking, it's like you don't take yourself too seriously, because you understand that you yourself, you're just experiencing situations. And then in that sense, that's what helps you detach from those experiences, because you understand that, oh bro, everyone is just experiencing some shit. And, you know, certain people may say things or take things out, but you understand the higher truth that no matter what anyone does, or no matter what anyone says, or what they do as a living, or what they, you know what I'm saying, they're all just experiencing shit. And so are you. You're just experiencing things. You're experiencing people. You're experiencing food. You know, you're experiencing, you experience everything. And everyone is constantly, oh my god. Everybody is constantly experiencing shit. every day, all the time. And, you know, you understand that very well. Which is why it's very easy for a Mercury and Sag person to even drop. They can drop friends very quickly. They can drop relationships very quickly. Obviously, it depends. Like, because if you have a moon in Scorpio or moon in Cancer, it'll obviously be modified differently. Even moon in Virgo, moon in Leo. Yeah, moon in Leo. I was saying Leo. Yeah, but it's very easy for you to kind of just drop situations, or even just kind of like, you know, just be like, all right, well, I'm done. Just be like, all right, well, cool, I'm done with this. Because you understand, like, that was just an experience, and you are so good at detaching from situations and things, especially, and this is something that you share with Libras, is kind of escaping, or maybe, yeah, let me say escaping confrontation, or escaping any bad juju, like bad vibes, you know, because you kind of feel like, oh, wow, what's the purpose of this? And once again, it's going to relate back to Jupiter, because you would feel like if I choose to, you know, entertain this confrontation, or if I choose to do this, then I'm gonna expand, or I'm gonna grow more of those experiences. So if I detach, or if I run away or escape from that situation, then I can I guess attach myself to experiences and people that I want to experience that don't have bad juju. But in that sense, you're not really, you know, confronting a situation. You're more so running away from it. You know what I'm saying? But to you, it's more so I'm detaching myself from an experience that I don't want to experience, even though you may have created an experience, and now you're running away from the consequence of the experience. Ha! You know what I'm saying? But you did that shit. You did that shit all by yourself. My bad. But you won't know that because you won't want to take the responsibility of doing that. And that's something that you share with Libras and Geminis too. You start some shit and then you don't finish it right, because you would start an experience and then you wouldn't end it communicating with someone. Like, I feel like Mercury and Sagittarius people have a problem with communicating. Like, okay, dude, well, I'm done with this experience, so I'm gonna leave now. They kind of just, you know, ghost. That's why y'all be ghosting niggas, bro. Ghost people. And you don't end things well. And then when these consequences come back to find you, then you want to run away from them. Because, once again, Mercury, it falls here. So you kind of feel like you communicated enough by your actions. That's the thing with fire signs. Their actions will communicate louder than their words. But sometimes you need words. And that's something that you will learn from your sextile signs, Aquarius and Libra. That's something that you can learn, just how to communicate in that sense, you know. Even though, yes, actions do speak louder than words, and the way that you act, you know, as I said, ghosting, that may be your communication to tell someone, okay, dude, I'm done with this interaction now. So you just leave, that you don't want to talk about it. But sometimes people need that, you know. And I think even when someone does come to confront you, like, for you to get to that state where you're, like, bluntly rude, it would have to take someone having to press you against the wall and be like, dude, why the fuck did you do this? Why the fuck did you do this? Also very similar to Aquarius, because I think once again, when you're not being brutally honest, you're you know, speaking in metaphors, like you're speaking metaphorically, you know, you're doing that shit, or I don't know, you're just using your body language or your actual vibes to do that. You know, you're being funny, but even your funniness is just honesty. And maybe it's just the thing with your tone. But yeah, that's it. You guys are either bluntly honest, or you're very funny, or you're speaking in riddles, or you're very, very, like, very philosophical. Like, you know, you're that philosophical teacher that you only engage in high philosophical conversations. And that's also a reason why a lot of Mercury and Sagittarius don't like small talk, just because they don't know how to small talk, bro. They don't know how to do that shit. Like, once again, it's all gonna go down to the reason. Like, what is the reason of us even having this conversation? And if the reason is on some bullshit, then they don't want to entertain it, you know, or they'll just escape, or they'll be rude and be like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They'll just be out. They'll just be out. Period. You know? But yeah, generally I think these guys are come to a Sagittarius Mercury once, like, these are the guys that, once again, as I said, they don't really like hearing about your problems unless you have a solution, you know. But if you need a solution, go to a Mercury and Sag person. And if you need some wisdom about how to get over something, go to a Mercury and Sagittarius person. These guys they have wisdom for sure about even the stupidest shit, bro. Literally, you could ask a Mercury and Sag person like how to be a cheater. How to be a cheater, or like how to be, I don't know, how to be rude. They got you. They'll teach you that shit because they're really good teachers and they'll love teaching. But don't make it a habit, or don't show them that, you know, now you depend on them to always provide you with wisdom, because they'll see that as a cage and they'll see it as like, oh, okay, you are just someone who's too lazy to, you know, experience or even come up with wisdom from your experiences for yourself. So now you, like, don't make a Mercury and Sagittarius person feel like, you know, you need them in any way. Because they're not. And listen, you may be a sun sign Scorpio with this, or a Capricorn sign. What am I saying? You may be a sun sign Scorpio, or you may be a sun sign Capricorn, or even a sun sign Sag. But I find that the sun sign Scorpios and Capricorns with this, they're usually the quiet ones, you know, and they are usually the super rude ones, or the super like, they don't want to say much unless there's a reason to it, you know what I'm saying? So they'll be either they'll be super cutthroat, or they'll be like super quiet, you know what I'm saying? Because most of the time they're speaking that real shit, they're talking facts, and if you're not gonna do that, then they're just gonna mise. But if it's a sun sign Sagittarius with their Mercury in Sagittarius, then these are the guys, like, they're a lot more cool, but they also have those detaching qualities, as I mentioned before. Like, you know, if they know from experiencing you and just being around your energy that you're someone that, you know, you also don't have a specific purpose to what you say, or, you know, you're always good at small talking, then they won't want to be around you because you're a cage to them. You're a cage. So they'll throw you as far as they can reach, or what, they'll put you as far as, well, whatever that saying is, you know what I'm saying? But they'll do that shit, you know. And they don't mind being alone, because once again, they're very good with because it's mutable fire, you know what I'm saying? So they mutable into seeing things from other people's ways, or understanding where you're coming from in that sense, you know, and understanding the like where you'll start, like, they understand where you even, how you came to that conclusion, you know what I'm saying? They're good at that. But they're equally as good at detaching from situations and people in general, you know? Because they're always looking for freedom, and the more freedom they have, the better. And that's that. So yeah, that's my video on Mercury in Sagittarius, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that shit, and I'm very glad I wasn't stumbling too much. Because, yo, guys, this is whack. This shit is whack, bro. Stumbling, mumbling your words is fucking whack. But with that being said... And also, I forgot to mention that these guys swear a lot. Like, I feel like Mercury and Sag swear a lot. And these are obviously the guys with, like, and shorties with a big laugh, or just a big attitude, you know. But you love being around them. You love being around them, you know. You love that shit. But anyway, that's my video. And thank you so much for watching. And if you like that shit, watch my next video, Mercury in Sagittarius through the houses, because everybody can have a Mercury in Sag, but it will be displayed differently depending on the house that it's in. So yeah, check that out as soon as I post it. And yeah. Ooh, once again, I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.